Alright. Victory. Couple weeks too late for it to really mean anything, but like I said in my last video, even when things are bad, it's nice to have things you can take away, things you can remember somewhat fondly, and this can be one of those games. San Francisco's obviously not a good team. I'm not gonna sit here and brag about beating them. It's not much to brag about, but the Seattle team I've seen most of this year so far probably would have found a way to lose that game, but we didn't. So I gotta be happy about that. And 2-5, and I'm getting messages like, we're only 2 games out of the West, and right now I don't see it, because maybe we just won, but I still don't think we're a good team capable of beating the good teams that we'll need to beat. There's a difference. I mean, next week we got Philadelphia. I see that game as being a bloodbath. I really do. I look at it, the way we match up, and I'll get more into this later, I think they're going to slaughter us. But if we win that game, you can come back and talk to me then. Right now, I'm still kind of thinking about, okay, we're a 4 or 5 win team this year. Which 4 or 5 games are we going to win? That's the truth. I'm sorry. But this is happy time right now. So, the game. Wallace, much better than his performance against Tampa. Didn't turn it over, didn't take sacks. Really, our offensive line did a pretty good job of pass blocking for him, so I gotta give them props there, because they've been good all year except for the Buffalo game. Our pass blocking has been good this year in pass blocking pretty much all year, so there aren't a lot of good things you can say about this team. That's one of them. I'll say it again, I wish we would involve Carlson more in this offense. Right now, maybe it's just because of Wallace, but seems like the receiver he targets more than any other receiver over the last couple games that he's been in is Corin Robinson. And Robinson, he's a guy I'm rooting for. He would be a wonderful success story if he could turn his career around, and he has good speed and he's a playmaker. All that said, he was out of the league for a reason. He was 5th string on Green Bay for a reason. He was returning kicks in Minnesota for a reason. It's Robinson. I like him. He was a high pick and he did go high in the draft, but I don't know why we keep targeting him so much. So I'd like to see more Carlson. Ingram. He is frustrating me right now, because he was supposed to be the reliable part of this team, the thing we could depend on when we couldn't depend on anything else, and right now there isn't much to depend on. And he's dropping passes. He's just not playing well right now. I don't want to hear about that contract extension he wanted. He can go somewhere else after this year, honestly. He's a good guy. He had a good career. He helped us a lot over his career. It's time. And we all gotta get old eventually, right? So, obviously the big story of our offense was Leonard Weaver. 4 catches, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Caught 2 short passes and then just outran everybody, went all the way to the end zone. He's a fullback, and that's the first time in NFL history a fullback has had 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in one game. So nothing but positives to say about Leonard Weaver. He even ran the ball, I think, pretty well. I mean, nothing notable, but I think he did have one good carry where he jumped over somebody, and yeah, Weaver, definite MVP of the game. Generally, offensively, I didn't see much run blocking out of us, which was the main thing we couldn't get out of our offense, because most of everything else was clicking. We had good pass protection. We were making big plays in the passing game. We were making the little plays in the passing game. We were hitting our field goals. We were getting into the end zone more often than not. Morris couldn't do anything. Jones couldn't do anything. Duckett, pretty much useless. I don't think it was any of their fault. None of them had very good games, obviously, but I think it was the run blocking. I think that is definitely something that has struggled all season, and something we need to take to the next level. Defensively, we gave up a lot of yards. We gave up almost 400 yards. Oh, and it's worth noting that they gained 130 more yards than us and held the ball for 10 minutes, for like 8 minutes longer. We still won. We blew them out. So take that as you will. You know what? We got turnovers, which is huge. When we force turnovers, well, I guess you could say that about any team in the league. When you force turnovers, you're probably going to win. But, you know, we gave up that early long drive to the Niners, and it looked for all the world like they were going to punch it in. And Peterson, that's why we pay him that money. Last 2 years been a huge playmaker for us. And this year, you know, it's not quite the same, but that play probably helped us win this game. Forcing the fumble, and Kearney picks it up. That play pissed me off, though, because how does Julian Peterson not lay a block on J.T. O'Sullivan? You cannot tell me that J.T. O'Sullivan is faster than Julian Peterson. Peterson should have just taken him right out of the play. Kearney should have gone all the way easily, and we only got a field goal out of that drive. So those are the things that, had we lost, I'd come back and look at. Wouldn't be happy. Josh Wilson. First interception of his career. He's had a pretty good career to this point, returning kicks, playing as like the fourth or third cornerback. You know, I've been satisfied with that pick over the last 2 years, and finally he makes a big play. I think he forced a fumble at some point in this game too, but don't hold me to that. So he stepped it up and made a couple of big plays, and his interception that he returned was, you know, significant. I know when you look at the scoreboard, it doesn't look like any one play could mean all that much, but the Niners were actually in a position to get within 3 points right before the half, and Wilson just takes it. Excellent play by a defense that has not been making very many big plays this year, but today, no complaints. We got 4 sacks. We forced several turnovers. I got some negative things to say about Darryl Tapp for not falling on that fumble, because that would have really let us blow the game wide open early, but all's well that ends well. Oh, Tutupu got hurt again, and it didn't sound like it was anything major, but he didn't come back, so hopefully we can get him back, because he's been having an off year so far. I'd like to see him come back and play better the second half of the season. You know, defensively, it was mostly about making plays, which I'm cool with. We, as a defense, do better when we make plays, because the Niners did generate 400 yards of offense almost. Sean Hill came in for JTO at the half, and he played well. He completed a lot of his passes and got a couple of good drives going through a touchdown. Did a good job scrambling. Frank Gore had a good game against us, but Frank Gore is he's a good player. So sometimes you can only hope to contain him, and to some extent we did. He didn't break 100 yards rushing, did quite a bit through the air, but again, he's a good player. And Vernon Davis was probably the most exciting thing to come out of this game for any non-fan, and you know, if you haven't seen it yet, go see the Singletary the Singletary press conference, because it's Coors Light commercial material. That's going to be fun. That was a great press conference. That's going to be turned into a Coors Light commercial. Absolutely. And Davis, I don't know how much longer he has in San Francisco, but he's not making any new fans with stuff like that. Okay, I've gone on long enough about that game. Moving on.